I know that I have likely trodden on some very important toes with the posts that I've done recently, and to be quite frankly, I don't give a damn. My life has been squeezed down into not very much, and I'm sick of it. If anything happens to me, then it happens to me. I'm at that point where I've got all the information I need out to people who will release it after I've gone, if that's what is going to happen, because I've had 3 years worth of death threats. And you don't think in 3 years I haven't found the information out to trusted people who I speak to very, very rarely, because I don't want them to have problems of being connected with me. I know that sounds a bit woo-woo, but when you've been faced with the options that I've had to consider, it's only common sense. That's one of the reasons that I keep posting on YouTube. Because if enough days go by and I don't post on YouTube, then the information comes out automatically. And that's the deal. That's the understanding. Checks will be made to make sure that I'm okay. But that's the reason I post on a regular basis on YouTube. And should that stop for any reason, everybody's dirty laundry comes out. All of it. And it'll come out unfiltered. Because, yes, I know I'm not messing with run-of-the-mill people here. And they better realise that they're not messing with a run-of-the-mill person. I've had to be very careful, and I've had to be very quiet for a long time because they tried to smear my mental health. But just because there's more of them, it doesn't mean they have to win. It just means they need to stop targeting my life. At the moment, I think I'm into, day 14 of no hot water. As a disabled person, registered disabled, who gets vertigo, having to wash your feet in the kitchen sink and strip wash for 14 days in December. I'm not going to criticise the housing association, but how is that allowed to happen in this country? Whether it's the housing association or if the law. If the housing association are operating within the law, then the law's pretty cruddy. I had to wait in for 3.5 days for the plumber to even get here because of the death threats from downstairs. The housing association wouldn't send a plumber by them, or an engineer by themselves. They had to send 2 for safety for the engineer. Well, what about my safety? I've got to live here with it. So why is your engineer more important than me? I've got it 24 hours. They'd only have it for about half an hour. It doesn't add up. And, I'm having my housing messed about with, my finances messed about with, my YouTube channels being messed about with. You name it, it's there. Now, I've had the death threats here. My door still hasn't been repaired in January, it'll be 12 months. I've had a damaged door for 12 months. And they think that's acceptable. Well, good for them. I don't. And with the stench of drugs and the screaming and the shouting and the banging and the crashing and the vomiting and just the threats of gun violence and stuff here, it's incredible that between the council and the housing association and the police, nothing is being done. Nobody wants to tackle the problem, whether the problem's too big for them or whether they just don't want to tackle the problem because it would be helping me out. I don't know. Let's look at, let's consider both options there. But when I stay at home, being in this apartment is miserable. It's miserable as hell. It's a hellhole. It's torture. Not for me though, because I know how to turn it around and get rid of it. It's uncomfortable. But then when it gets to a certain point, I just whack out a tarot reading and I transmute the energy. And it's actually turned my tarot reading into something much better, because I'm thinking, right, this is going to be a good one. But then when I go out, I went out about 5 o'clock in the morning in the summer to Hyde Park. This is filmed. I think I was there 3 mornings one week, and the second and the third time, 2 people turned up with very long lens cameras. Not doing much, just milling around, and then as soon as I spotted them, they started behaving oddly. There were videos of that on my other channel. Then I've had all kinds of gang stalking and people just being rude and smashing into me. I was sitting in Trafalgar Square and somebody just came up and kicked me and walked away. I've had nonsense at police stations. Every time I try to get information, oh, that's not available, you can't have that, you can't do this, you can have a little bit, but not with the bit that you want. You know, I had homophobic death threats from the people downstairs, but apparently the police were ringing the wrong telephone number to get in touch with me, even though they've got my email address because I submitted the video, and they know where I live. And I said, yes, I do want to press charges, but apparently to satisfy the Crown Prosecution or CPS service, it's run out of time because the police were ringing the wrong telephone number to get in touch with me. Well, that's not good enough. And then I go to the hospital and I get duffed up by medically trained people, you know, and then they play funny with the CCTV. And now the police officer who's supposed to be looking through the CCTV is not returning my emails. It's just one thing after another after another. This amount of weaponised incompetence is making it almost impossible to live or operate or breathe. So me getting any kind of recourse for the nonsense that happens to me proves very, very difficult. But I'm not going to stop. And it also prevents me spending my energy and efforts moving on in different directions or clearing the decks. Well, I've had to have a bit of a review, which is why I thought, well, if I'm not getting the answers, I'll just do tarot spreads and I'll ask the questions. I'll put the questions out there, the questions that I would like answered, and I'll just farm them out there, because why wouldn't you? Then at least I can get rid of the questions, and if they come back, they come back, because I'm sick of waiting for the answers. But thank you for some of the good advice that I've had. Oh, you're playing with fire. Well, so are they, because they don't know what I know. They don't know that. And if people are trying to put the threateners on me, saying, be careful, you're playing with fire. Yes, I know I am. But I've got a lot more fire up my sleeve. But if I disappear or if anything happens to me, then it will all come out, as I said, very unfiltered, in a very unstructured way, because the raw data is with people who won't think twice about putting it all over the internet. So I would like to be left alone by these energies, let's say, who are making my life very difficult. You've had your fun. I was going to say move on to somebody else, but don't. Just stop what you're doing. It's wrong. And I would like more assistance in clearing my name. Because, for example, I rang Action Fraud to get advice on some stuff that's happened on my bank account. Now, they asked me a question and have flagged up that I wasn't taking antipsychotic medication. I had 2 phone calls from the police, and the second person said, well, we'll turn the ambulance around. And that was all based on me not taking antipsychotic medications that had never been prescribed. And I want to know how my name has got on these lists where frontline services can be wasted and ruined like that. And somebody could have needed that ambulance, somebody could have died needing that ambulance, and it was somebody's joke to send it to me because I'm supposed to be some woo-woo bedroom bomber. It's ridiculous. They're letting them the waste of petrol and man hours and stuff like that. Somebody's life could have been in danger because somebody's got it in for me. Is it worth it? You've had your fun. Stop it now. I'm going to let the dust settle. But if there's no let-up, there'll be a hell of a lot more. And I'll be turning up the volume. Leave me alone. Let me live my life. Let me get on with what I want to do. And take the straitjacket off my life. Stop closing me down. And it's not a request. It's an instruction.